Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for a full album reaction. Come one, come all, hop on in as we dive into The Cure with their third studio album, Faith, released 1981. A lot of you had been suggesting this album, saying I got to listen to it, and so listen to it we shall. We're going to listen to this album, because it had been suggested by at least the following. I haven't gotten all of you just because it's hard sometimes to find all of you in the comments and such, but I do my digging, my due diligence in digging, a lot of alliteration there. AK, Pentagrammaton. I know you two are at the front there. Let's see. James Atkinson, I got you as well. Sam Stevenson, I see you. Miss X, AK, I see you as well. Once again, DF15 Gadget, I'm going down the list. Ebo Thrasher, you said you'd love for me to hit The Cure. I'm not going to hit them because I'm against the violence, but I will listen to them. Oh no, 1DIJ, Nikolai Quack, don't duck around. Chinnard, I'm going... I'm so sorry. I don't need to be doing the puns while I'm doing this. Let's see. Who else? Durand Compton. Miss Sates, Robert Jewell, Warren Cromartie, Azabax, Mark Cush, Smoke If You Got Him, Rosenfield, Jerome Deuce. Thank you guys so much for the recommendations. There's a lot more of you. I know that for sure. But just on a cursory glance, I'm popping and you're popping up. So yeah, let's go ahead and dive on into it. I'm not going to take too much time. I'm not going to waste time with the intro. You know, it's funny. I know I've mentioned this several times, but it's just because every once in a while I get a straggler that comes in and watches the videos and leaves this comment that says, just shut up and get to the music. And I'm just, in my head, I just think, do people really just want like a radio jockey? Like just, I press the intro button. All right, let's listen to Faith, The Cure. Here we go. Like, don't you want some personality, something, you know, something to go along with it? I would hope so. I mean, like I said, if I was looking at reaction videos and watching people, I want like a little, you know, I want personality behind it, not just, here's the song, you listen to it. Wow, that was good. Really great drums, really great guitar. Lyrics, probably about faith. Next track. Like, you gotta put something into it, you know, put something into it, and then you might get something out of it too. Plant seeds, reap flowers. Let's go ahead and dive on into it, but before we do, the Buy Me a Coffee is there if you'd like to sponsor a song request or even an album quest. If you'd like to do so, you can do it there. The Patreon's there, over there, for exclusive content as well, and right here on YouTube where you are and where this video should be. There's no reason it should be blocked. Of course, you can just press that like button, subscribe if you don't mind. Looking at the Wikipedia page also before we dive into it, see what I mean? Taking all this time. Someone's already left. Really curious about the album cover. I like the kind of, there's something, there's a meaning here. It's almost like a zoomed in picture of something. The question is, what could it be? This looks like some grass. This almost looks like a car door. The window here. I wonder what it could be. You know what? Let's listen to the music first, and we'll dive in as we go on. So let's start off with the first track, which is going to be The Holy Hour. Shake your shakes if you got them. Drink your spinach protein drink if you got it, or whatever you got. And of course, my friends, this one is to you. I like the way that came in. It changes how it sounds, that approach. Of course, that church bell, Holy Hour, Faith. It's a very subtle synth. guitar plays so simple above this pattern, but the way that it plays is in different sections, it changes how the music sounds as a whole. Really cool technique there. Guitar, how it changes the music around it. You know, I wasn't counting, but I bet you that the number of times that the bell tolled has some sort of meaning within the song. I wasn't counting, so I couldn't tell you, and I'm not going to go back and count, you know. But I'm sure that there's a reason. You guys hear Liam? This was a really great opening track, setting a really nice theme. The album title, of course, is called Faith. This track, The Holy Hour, beginning with the bells being tolled and that very, very nice bass line from Gallup coming in. And that is the spine, the backbone of this track, that bass line. And throughout the duration of this track, it is always present, it is always there, and it is always satisfying to listen to. Bam, 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 bam. Like the way that it comes up and down, it moves up and down. I think it just works really well in creating a nice variety within, monotony is not the good word, it plays in a very repetitive way. There's not a lot of changes when it comes to the bass line, but yet the variety that which is inherent in the way that it's performed and the riff of it works really well. I'm sorry, I got something in my throat. Yeah, I think you know what I mean. And then the guitar from Smith, and of course his vocals. His vocals to me sound very far off, a little bit distant, a little bit impersonal, which I think works its way into the theme of the song. But also the guitar has a little bit of warmth to it. I would say the mood of this track is a little bit cold and a little bit distant, a little bit far off. Especially, I think the bass line is cold. I think the drums are cold. I think the little bits of synth in there are cold. But I think the guitar brings a little bit of warmth to it, almost like a little bit of reassurance, a little bit of hope that comes in. You know, when you're in a cold crypt, it's a little bit of that warmth that just finds its way to you. Instead of the opposite, you know, that chilling wind. No, this is a little bit of reassurance here. But I really like the way that this track kind of sets up everything thematically, and then also instrumentally and musically, the way that it hits that certain cold note, at least to me. I kneel and wait in silence as one by one the people slip by. Into the night, the quiet and empty bodies kiss the ground before they pray, kiss the ground and slip away. So he's just one among them, right? He's kneeling and waiting in silence. I am imagining him sitting there and praying. As people come, people go, but he's still there as they come and go. I sit and listen dreamlessly. A promise of salvation makes me stay, right? He's sitting there. He's not having any dreams. Nothing's coming to him, but he has a promise of salvation. So he stays there, ever persevering. Then I look at your face and feel my heart pushed in. as all around the children play the games they tired of yesterday. They play. I like the way he repeats this in the song. I stand and hear my voice cry out. So there's a separation, right? There's a out-of-body kind of experience here. A wordless scream at ancient power. It breaks against stone. I softly leave you crying. I cannot hold what you devour. The sacrifice of penance in the holy hour. So I feel like he's saying here in the very end, in the conclusion, I feel like he's saying, I can't hold what you devour. What works for you doesn't necessarily work for me. And I can't help but read this in a religious way and perspective. That's good for you, but it's not for me. The sacrifice of penance in the holy hour. Oh, it does say right here. Let me open this here. Robert Smith says of the song, written whilst listening or sitting listening to Mass in the Catholic Friary Church in Crawley on Sunday night, trying to make sense, I would assume, of the communal response and faces. So written more from an observational point of view, and then of course absorbing that, devouring it, to make it into something of the song here and of the meaning. I like it. Let's move on into the next track, which is Primary. It's very different. Definitely the gallop here. Completely different with this upbeat sound. I love the way that guitar comes up, rising up, and then it kind of goes back to the background. Almost a heavy riff, it's just that the bass. That run on delivery there. This track is a very, very, very much more straightforward track from The Cure. It's honestly, it sounds like, don't come at me. This sounds like radio fodder and single material from them. I don't necessarily mean that in a bad way, but I feel like this track, besides that bass line, which it's very strong from Gallagher, he's just like it feels like stronger than before, and it's more just riffing on it very heavy-handedly. I really like Smith's voice and his delivery in this track as well. That very rapid, ongoing, run-on sentence kind of delivery here. But otherwise, I think that this track is like kind of just okay from the band, especially when compared to a lot of the music that I've heard from them. This one is kind of like what I would say is the typical formulaic Cure. This is like their more upbeat, more fast-paced kind of sound, and it's fine. It's good. If I hadn't heard a lot or a decent amount from The Cure, I'd probably be impressed and really enjoy this a lot more than I am. I think it's a completely fine song, but it doesn't make a dent or any sort of impression for me, if I'm being 100% honest. I've listened to a decent amount of The Cure that I feel like I can have at least one leg to stand on and say that, But if this was like one of the first few tracks that I heard from the band, I'd probably enjoy it a lot more. But I think that this one's just okay, if I'm being honest. The innocence of sleeping children, dressed in white and slowly dreaming, stops all time. Slow my steps and start to blur. So many years have filled my heart. I never thought I'd say those words. He never thought he would have those feelings. The further we go, the older we grow. The more we know, the less we show. And of course, it repeats that from there. The more mature, this is how I interpret this. The older you get, the more mature you become, the more experienced you become in life. The more, I think, attuned you become to things, the more connected you become to things. I can't speak for Smith or the writer here, but for myself, as I've gotten older, I've become more emotional and I've opened up more than I ever had before. And even before I had Liam, like this, just in my getting older and stuff, I found myself being more emotionally connected to things. The very first time I saw your face, I thought of a song and quickly changed the tune. That's a great line in Double Entendre. The very first time I touched your skin, I thought of a story and rushed to reach the end too soon. I like that. That case, like he rushed too fast. He didn't enjoy the story of it all. He just rushed to the ending. But I like this inspiration that he feels when he saw her face. The inspiration to write music, touched her skin. The inspiration to write a story or to perhaps even live out a story in the experience with this other person. Remember, please don't change. I view that as not him speaking necessarily to this other person, but to himself. Like to remember these experiences, to remember this inspiration and these muses. So the fall came, 13 years, a shiny ring, and how I could forget your name. The air no longer in my throat, another perfect lie is choked, but it always feels the same. Interesting. Is he describing his fall away from this, like he's forgotten these things that he said to remember? So they closed together, dressed in red and yellow, innocent forever. Sleeping children in their blue soft rooms still dream. Dressed in red and yellow. Before they were innocent, they were dressed in white. So perhaps there is also a loss of innocence as time goes forward. The further we go, the older we grow. The more we know, the less we show. Is there some sort of emotional withdrawal, perhaps he's also saying in this particular track? Let's look. It says it's a single released from the band, reached number 43 on the UK singles chart. The song is unusual in that both Simon Gallup and Robert Smith play bass. Okay. With the effects pedals on Smith's giving the leads a unique sound. There's no guitars or keys on here. Okay. So I guess that's why it has a strong bass sound to me, because they're both playing it. That would make some sense there. Let us move on into the next track. Actually, before we do so, looking at the single album art cover, and then relate that to the lyrics. Dressed in white, but then as we mentioned later on, dressed in red and yellow. There's white under, but now red and yellow. Draw your conclusions. Pull out your pencil and draw those conclusions. Other voices. love that depth of mysterious air in this track here already. Okay. Chit chat. I love that guitar melody. I love that. That bass line just hovers there. There's a change. I like those little pieces of echo in Smith's voice in certain moments. See, Other Voices gets back to that sound that I really enjoy from The Cure when there's a lot of space and emptiness left in what they're doing. I really love how Gallop's bass enters here and the way and the rhythm that it plays. Kind of a momentary pulse with a stop. Momentary pulse and then a stop. And in those spaces, I think that Smith's guitar, when it does eventually kind of begin to rise into the music, kind of fills in those spaces really nice as well. Following that guitar riff, or the bass riff rather, really nicely, right? Bum 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 bum. Sometimes doubling and then hitting that bum 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 bum, like that little higher note at the end. I like how that kind of stings at the end like a scorpion's tail. And then that space that's kind of brewed underneath. I'm listening to that space and I'm trying to like hear like what's in that atmosphere that they're building down there. And I really feel like that's more like the effects that are kind of left over in the echoes of their guitar, of their bass, of Robert singing. And like how in those spaces you get little bits of that kind of just lingers and trails and echoes into those crevices. It's kind of like they're playing their instruments at the top of a canyon, and then in the space of the canyon at the bottom, we're getting little echoes and reverberations that kind of travel down there. And I think that's a really cool thing that they do. I just like how they perform in certain spaces in a very, I think, unique way. That is definitely an establishment from them. And then kind of like in Holy Hour, Smith sounds relatively distant, I would say, in this track in the way that he sings. But I like how that, as once again, that kind of far away calling, from the distance and echo from the past kind of voice and vocal delivery into this track amongst this, I think, really cool rhythmic, pleasurable sound that they have. That riff is one that I think would stay, at least personally, like in my head, that bum ba da bum 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 ba da bum 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 ba da bum bum, with simple but straightforward drumming to carry it along those canyon walls. Whisper your name in an empty room. You brush past my skin as soft as fur. Taking hold, I taste your scents, distant noises, other voices. Pounding in my broken head, commit the sin, commit yourself. And all the other voices said, change your mind, you're always wrong, always wrong, always wrong. I like this line, commit the sin, commit yourself. Committing yourself to some sort of asylum, but also committing yourself to some sort of a job or direction, committing yourself to some sort of duty. And then right after, committing yourself in the psychological way, and all the other voices said, are these voices in your head? Come around at Christmas, I really have to see you. Smile at me slyly, another festive compromise. But I live with desertion and 8 million people, the distant voices or noises of other voices. Pulsing in my swinging arms caress the sound, so many dead. And all the other voices sing, change your mind, you're always wrong. So is this voice of self-doubt, these other voices, right? You have a duty, you set yourself to something, you commit yourself, but then the voices say, change your mind, do something else, change direction, because you're always wrong. So self-doubt, perhaps even depression, something towards that direction. Said that there's a promotional music video for this, but the song was not released as a single. When Smith asked what was the inspiration, he said, this one's a bit difficult. Blotting out the world through the eating of forbidden fruit. Deafened by lust. I like how when he gives an explanation, he gives you just enough to kind of get a sense of direction, but he doesn't tell you exactly where the destination is, if you know what I mean. He just kind of gives you, he implies, but doesn't necessarily explain, I like that. Don't give it all to them at once. Piece by piece. Let them figure out the rest. All cats are gray. All right. If you say so. Maybe I'm colorblind. Oh, that's a warm pool of synth. Really warm pool of synth and keys. And the way that these drums surround, this is a section that we could sit in for a while. Absolutely. long fade out. Best song so far on the album. All Cats Are Grey. Best song, bar none, on the album so far. It's only 4 tracks, but we're halfway through. Everything on here. The setup. I wasn't really paying attention to the time, but what is it? Maybe about 2 minutes before Robert even comes in, and when he does come in singing, it's brief, a couple lines, and he's back out of there. But that build up of gorgeous, foggy atmosphere layered synth that just broods and floats there in the mist, while the drums just playing on the toms, just surrounding us. I think that effect was incredibly well done, and there's a certain minimalist aspect to it, the way those toms sounded, almost like little pops, just that are kind of surrounding us. That's Tolhurst on the drums, and I haven't really talked about him yet, but in this track here, now I really want to mention him and put a spotlight on him, because I think that effect and the way that he plays around is just really, really well done. Obviously, the production having a good hand in that as well. But it's a cool way of kind of like dipping us into this particular pool. And what a cool pool that is with those keys that those are warm. That is a warm and foggy evening sitting in that pool. That's wonderful. Just that combination. Like I said, when Smith comes in, he adds a little bit of a drop of melody into that pool. It ripples out, and from those ripples, you get a little bit of piano that begins to come in and drip as well. And that is, or to me, that acts as those ripples coming out, because that piano starts at that point, and then it ripples out until the closing finale, where the rest of the music ends and fades out, and the piano is the only thing that's left, and a few solemn and stately notes. This is absolutely a brilliant track from the band, and just a really fantastic atmosphere that they build up. And this ends the first side of the album, as a matter of fact. Like I said, not many lyrics on this one. I never thought that I would find myself in bed amongst the stones. The columns are all men begging to crush me. No shapes sail on the dark, deep lakes, and no flags wave me home. So he finds himself in an uncomfortable position, I would say. In the caves, all cats are gray. In the caves, the texture coats my skin. In the death cell, a single note rings on and on and on. And of course, the piano goes on and on and on after that. So in the caves, all cats are gray. You can't quite see the exact colors of the cats, so to speak. What does it symbolize? We might have to click on it to find out. But he never thought he would find himself in this position, in this particular place. He's finding others are looking to crush him. And he has no way out. He's not seeing any hope out of this particular place. Let's read this annotation. Maybe we'll see if there's anything on Wikipedia. Okay, the early demos being written for the band's album are upbeat, but one night he wrote this track, and the next one, Funeral Party, that really set the tone for the album. He explained the songs about being trapped in caves and growing old. This supports the claim among fans that the song was inspired by Gormenghast novels, where one of the characters lives in the seclusion in caves. Tolhurst shared in 2016 that All Cats Are Grey was written about his mother's death. Bed amongst the stones. That could be a graveyard then. All cats are gray in the dark is a proverb that goes back as far as the 16th century and professes that physical appearance is meaningless. Founding member Lowell Tolhurst's mother, Daphne, who was also the inspiration behind the content, told him she used to use the phrase, all cats are gray. And here's his tweet from 2020 with this here. That adds a different side to it. Nothing on the Wikipedia, at least. Well, I didn't do a search. Not cards, cats. All Cats Are Gray and Primary were attempted, but neither ended up on their previous album, 17 Seconds. All Cats Are Gray features Smith on keyboards and piano with no guitar at all here. Really impressive track. I think that's a definite high mark on the album so far. And possibly I have to give some time, but maybe even just from the band itself. I think that's a definite high point so far. Let's move on to the next track, the second side of the album, The Funeral Party. I love that mood already. Those slow synths are really nice. Distant sound that was kind of there. I heard it trailing into it. I had to let it go a little bit. Okay, Funeral Party and All Cats Are Gray. two sides of a beautiful coin, shiny coin. And Funeral Party, from the moment it starts off, I'm already in. So we open up the second side of the album, reintroduced into the synth-laden sound from the keyboards and that pool, but the pool is slightly different. Now we have a little bit more of a rhythm here with the drums from Tollers, and it pushes us into kind of a slow, synthy, drip-fed direction, and I love how it's moving in this very languid pace. It's just crawling in a very specific and stately manner, that rhythm. Bum, 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 bum. And of course the synth, just shining all around that. And that sound is what I love from the band. All Cats Are Gray, Funeral Party, maybe Doubt. That transition there. Like, that is the sound I really, really enjoy from the band. And Funeral Party has that in abundance. Even when Smith comes in singing, he sings right on top of that rhythm, stepping in line with the way that the rest of the band is stepping. And it's just really, really cool how gentle and somber the sound is, but there's like a definite power. There's definitely like a backbone behind it and a kind of punchiness, I would say, in a certain respect here to the way that rhythm just powerfully steps down every time it comes around. But the gorgeous, gorgeous misty synth that's built around it is just fantastic to listen to. These last two tracks have been really good. And I'm curious about the way it was transitioning into the next track here with Doubt. I don't know. It was already coming in quite heavy-handed there. I almost pressed the wrong button. Bring you guys up here. Two pale figures ache in silence, timeless in the quiet or quiet ground, side by side in age and sadness. Without me even... Okay, so, I couldn't help but see now, so I'm looking. It says it's about the death of Smith's grandparents. Honestly, I was thinking of... I don't know why, but I was thinking of Pompeii. Isn't it one of the popular... Not, popular. It's one of the most well-known, I guess for lack of a better word, artifacts, remains from Pompeii. Isn't it of two lovers in an embrace? Or am I thinking of something completely different? I watched and acted wordlessly, as piece by piece you performed your story, moving through an unknown past, dancing at the funeral party. Memories of children's dreams lie lifeless, fading lifeless, hand in hand with fear and shadows, crying at the funeral party. I heard a song and turned away as piece by piece you performed your story, noiselessly across the floor, dancing at the funeral party. So he says, of course, it's about the death of his grandparents, so these would be the two pale figures, aching in silence in the quiet ground. I watched and acted wordlessly as you performed your story. Is this about his grandparents just living while he was a kid, and so he's watching wordlessly because maybe he was at an age where he couldn't really talk, but he could remember as they just moved through their story, their life? Could be. Hand in hand with fears and shadows, crying at the funeral party. How young was he when they passed? Do we have any note of that? No. I feel like that might relate to some of the words, because it seems here, from at least to me, the implication is he was very young when they died, but old enough to remember. Crying at the funeral party, dancing at the funeral party, performed your story. I feel like there's a little something more to this. Just something a little bit more with specifically the lines dancing at your funeral party. I feel like there's something to that, but I'm not quite sure what it is. I'm reading over and over a few times here. Moving through an unknown past. There's something to it. I wish there's something to this that I just don't know what it is. I don't want to keep on saying there's something to it. There's something to it. But there is. And I just can't figure out what exactly it is. You perform a story moving through an unknown past. The neurons aren't firing on this one. Either way, a brilliant track, though. Really, really fantastic one. Now let's move on into the next one. You heard it starting up. That was Doubt. And there was no doubt this one's going to be a rocker. I like that follow the drums. Anger. Is that his vocals back there? It must be. Singing very high. Hey, I like that return. He's getting it out on this one. This song is called Doubt, but there was no doubt that this was the angriest track on the album. This was the one that he is getting all of his rage out. He's just mad. He is mad. And the music is appropriately direct and aggressive. While it's not the genre, it does have, to me, the attitude, at least, of punk. It does have that predisposition to it. And the way that Robert is just crying out relentlessly and angrily, talking about, again and again, your body falls. I stop and kneel beside you, knowing I'll murder you again tonight. Not to be graphic, but the relentlessness of the delivery, of the music, and the strong handedness is just making me think of this, just over and over and over. And the bass is, of course, very strong on this one. I love the drums, that like the constant, I say, the tumbling of the toms and those falling racks of toms. I love how that's used in here as well, alongside the aggressive kind of, to me, this goth punk almost kind of sound that the band dips their toes into. And by toes, I mean the whole leg, femur and all. But this was a really cool track, especially coming off of the previous one, The Funeral. And like I said, we caught that transition. It works really well in the way that it lifts up from the very beginning. Because you hear that little, let me get him off of, here, right there. Just that little bit of bass slide into this track. It's a brief moment, but it's a nice little transition from Funeral Party. The ending, that very melancholic atmosphere. So here we go. We're going to rip it. And just right into it. That is really, really fantastic. And even in this track, while they're heavier and aggressive, they still maintain their atmosphere to a big degree, with the keyboards and stuff in here. Just really a really good one. All right, let's see what he's angry about. Stop my flight to fight and die. Fight and flight response? No, he's saying stop the flight. It's time to fight, even if it ends up being my life. And take a stand to change my life. So savage with red desperation. He's seeing red in this desperation. I clench my hands. You draw your claws. A hidden rage consumes my heart. Fueled by years of wasted time, I close my eyes and tense myself. And screaming, throw myself in fury over the edge and into your blood. Tear at flesh and rip at skin and smash at doubt. I have to break you. Fury drives my vicious blows. I see you fall, but still I strike you. Again and again and again and again and a boom, 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 boom. You know what song? Forest. Your body falls. The movement is sharp and clear and pure and gone. I stop and kneel beside you, drained of everything but pain. Pain is the one thing that remains. This is just relentless. Kiss you once and see you writhe. Hold you close and hear you cry. Kiss your eyes and finish your life. Kiss your eyes. Finish your life. Kiss, kiss, kiss. And the lyrics repeat, sharp and clear and pure, knowing I'll murder you again tonight, over and over and over and over. Kind of like Prometheus, just over and over without end. Expressing the anger and frustration at the pointlessness of everything at the time, trying to fight the waves of absurdity. Just out there punching waves. Absurdity. He's just vicious on that one. Let's move on to the next track here, which is going to be The Drowning Man. Let me go to the End of Doubt because it seemed like it was kind of leading into it, at least in some capacity. What a great balance this side of the album has had. This almost sounds kind of trip-hop-esque. That movement. His ghostly wails coming in. Love that quick shaker. Little laser sounds. Man. There's a tension in those notes right there. The hold of the bass, I hear you. And there's like these echoes of voices or something in the very, very back. It's like the souls of the dead. Okay. Depending on how the final track, the title track, Faith, ends this side of the album, this may be a 5 out of 5 side of the album. The rest of this album was good, especially from from All Cats down, has been perfect. Perfect. The other 3 tracks are fine, but from Cats down so far has been absolutely brilliant. Drowning Man. Coming off the fiery, aggressive nature of Doubts, we get into something, once again, very melancholic and laid back and somewhat gloomy. And the sound of it, especially in the beginning, if the production was changed just a little bit, it has all the makings of a trip-hop song, which is, to me, so ahead of its time and so cool to hear that the band was, coming up with something like that. There's a tension that's strewn throughout this track as well, especially with the thin way that the guitar is strumming along, and the bass just gloomily stalking in the back. There's a lot of echo and reverb happening of sounds in the back. There was a laser sound at one point, but somehow it works. Smith sings from a point of desperation and kind of desolation. From the very beginning, though, of this track, like from here, you get this setup with the beat, right? But then, oh God, this part though. When the shaker comes in, it just escalates that very quick shh. And like, oh man, that's just sensational. Don't you think the way the guitar plays, it brings a certain tension to the sound as well? And even when the bass is playing in that particular section of the higher notes, like all the way up there, and then of course returning to the depths later on, there's just something so perfectly constructed and composed about this track and the sound of it all that I find like a moth to the flame, and you'll find me swinging towards the light on this one. And Smith sings so elegantly on top of this. One thing I liked is that when he was singing, the next line that he would sing would come on the very, very, very tail end, nearly stepping on the toes of the preceding lines, which was really cool in kind of, once again, building this tension. It builds a sort of rushing momentum, like there's no time to even breathe. It's just moving on, moving on, moving on. And as we get in towards the back end of this style, here, I'm 99% sure that that's Smith's voice in some capacity, maybe doubled, manipulated, something's going on. But that kind of choir effect that's happening in the back is, to me, chilling in this track. In the most beautiful way, chilling in this track. It's almost like this ghostly climax. There's something haunted about it, and the way that it begins to resolve itself at that very satisfying end. Drowning Man is... Don't need to throw me a life jacket if it's going to sound like this. She stands 12 feet above the flood. She stares alone across the water. The loneliness grows and slowly fills her frozen body, sliding downwards. One by one, her senses die. The memories fade and leave her eyes, still seeing worlds that never were, and one by one, the bright birds leave her. Okay, it seems like she's drowning. She's dying. Starting at the violent sound, she tries to turn, but final, noiseless. Slips and strikes her soft dark head. The water bows, receives her, and drowns her at its ease. Unless I'm missing, this is just her dying and drowning in these cold waters. I would have left all the world bleeding, or I would have left the world all bleeding, could I only help you, love. The fleeting shapes so many years ago, so young and beautiful and brave, everything was true, it couldn't be a story. I wish it was all true. I wish it couldn't be a story. The words all left me lifeless, hoping, breathing like the drowning man. Oh, Fuchsia, you leave me breathing like the drowning man. Dreaming like the drowning man, breathing like the drowning man. Like the loss of her makes him breathe and feel like a drowning man. She was his heir. And so even though she literally drowned, he feels like he's drowning in life without her. There were some notes down here I saw. According to Smith, it was based on Gormenghast books by Mervyn Peake. The character Fuchsia is perched on the windowsill after learning her lover is responsible for killing her father. When a knock on the door startles her into banging her head on the ledge, falling from the window, and then drowning. What an unfortunate series of events. It is recorded in a way that it often doesn't allow you to take a breath between verses. That is that what I was saying with the verses stepping on each other's toes and how they don't give you a chance. I didn't even think about that. That is the breath. That is the lack of breath. I gotta tell you, that just impressed me reading that more than I've been impressed by anything in a decent amount of time in a different way. That is the perfect combination of story, music, theme, bringing that all together in the way that he recorded it. I didn't even think about that. I noticed it, but I didn't correlate that to the drowning man and the drowning. Please clap.
That's the old pepper boy. That's the old pigeon. That's putting it over the old plate, boy.
Let's move into the next track and see if this album finishes out in perfection. That was enlightening, to say the least. Faith. I'm letting it lead him. Very calming bass line. Sounds hopeful, right? Okay. kick drum there. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, a full album reaction of The Cure with their album Faith. And we end with the title track, and we end in a perfectly conclusive way, musically, but also thematically with the whole album. Before we dive into musically, what everything, I just want to say I really like how kind of to me, this kind of bookends perfectly thematically with the opening track with Holy Hour, in which we kind of found him sitting there in, the cathedral and the church and kind of listening to the service, and he described himself kneeling, more than likely praying and waiting for answers that never come. But here, I think we kind of get a little bit of an answer in a sense when he says, here at the track, at the outro, with nothing left but faith. That is the only thing that there is to have left. Have faith that things will get better, turn out the way you want them to, etc., etc. And even as the music fades away, the only thing that we are left with, and in a sense that he's left with, is perhaps faith. And nothing else but faith. And the music even fades away to represent that, I think, perfectly, representing the leaving of everything else. And his voice is the last thing we hear before silence, echoing nothing left but faith. Just a really cool way to end the album. And like I said, to, in my mind, kind of thematically bookend the track here as well. This one works as a perfect finale for the album and kind of wrapping things up. The music kind of hits the same things that we would expect. The deep bass line from The Cure, the guitar that plays very melodically on top of that, a little bit more echo, especially in the vocals as well. It's all played to the way you would expect, but I really like how everything feels just a little bit more lifted, a little bit more hopeful on this track, a slight edge of brightness amongst these dark clouds, a little bit of a silver lining as compared to some of the other tracks. And I think that perfectly captures what The Cure is trying to do here. Yes, discuss depression or depressive topics or topics that, maybe are a little bit more downtrodden. But then at the end, to give us a little bit of a resolution to, like I said, enact that silver lining around the dark cloud and give us something to look forward to in a positive outlook, the same way that they're probably doing to reassure themselves as well. From the beginning, it starts off a little bit desolate, a little bit empty, but builds into that little colorful filling as it goes on. And I really like the middle section here. Hold on. Right there. There. Okay, so as Smith is singing that particular section, he's singing his lead in that kind of almost, to himself, I say, kind of near introspective way. But then right behind it, I would assume it's also Smith, he kind of overdubbing himself way in the distance and crying out profusely. He is like yelling from the back. And in that specific line, he's saying, no one lifts their hands, no one lifts their eyes, justified with empty words. The party just gets better and better. And I feel like that's something internal. Like on the outside, he's trying to remain calm and stately, but inside, he's tortured and kind of singing out and crying out a little bit more. I just thought that moment right there was really cool and how that's used. And I think that they use that really fantastically throughout. This whole thing is really fantastic. Catch me if I fall, I'm losing hold. I can't just carry on this way. And every time I turn away, I lose another blind game. The idea of perfection holds me. Suddenly, I see you change. Everything at once the same, but the mountain never moves. I like this idea of perfection holds me. Don't let perfection get in the way of good. In the sense of, he thinks maybe perhaps things should be perfect. But maybe things are okay. Suddenly, I see you change. Before, in Holy Hour, he mentioned, seeing them change and things that would work for them, but not devouring him. Rape me like a child. Okay, christened in blood. Painted like an unknown saint, there's nothing left but hope. Right at the end. Your voice is dead and old and always empty. Trust in me through closing years. Perfect moments wait if only we could stay. Please say the right words. We cry like the stone white clown and stand lost forever in a happy crowd. So maybe you will have bouts and moments and eras of depression and downtroddenness, but there will be a time when, maybe you'll be lifted up. We read these lines already. I went away alone with nothing left but faith, with nothing left but faith, with nothing left but faith. As we said that, I think that's a very powerful ending for the album here. He says, self-explanatory, as optimistic as I could get, it does or should offer a note of hope, which naturally and like thematically, it obviously does. Let's look at the album a little bit here, huh? Let's see. Following the 17 Seconds tour, they return to the studio. Let's see. During this session, recordings of songs All Cats Are Grey, Primary were attempted, but neither ended up on the album. Smith was hoping the tracks would sound funereal, but instead he said they all just sounded dull. Several other tracks were tried. Much of Faith was written in the studio. Tolhurst says we had been on the road constantly, switching between recording and touring. At least 2 songs were inspired by the Gormenghast novels, as we mentioned. Faith was the first album by The Cure to feature a 6-string bass guitar. The instrumental piece, Carnage Visitors, well, that's not here, is the soundtrack to Carnage Visitors, a short film. Okay. The film has since disappeared, and only Smith, Tolhurst, and Gallup own copies of it. Though during a televised interview in the mid-'80s, the host of the program surprised the band by playing a clip of the film on set. They probably said, how did you get that? The album's cover, as we mentioned in the beginning, designed by the former and future member, Porl Thompson, is a veiled picture of the church Bolton Priory in the fog. Okay, so here's the church. Okay. Veiled picture of the church in the fog. Hold on. Let's see if we can research this a little bit. So is this that part? The actual arch here? Is that what that's supposed to be? Okay. Like, I suppose I kind of see it. I suppose I kind of see it. if I'm looking at these two, it makes a little bit more sense. It's just veiled, so it distorts and kind of blurs the picture a little bit. Okay. I wanted to kind of get an idea there. Favorite tracks on the album. So can I say, like, I really think that from All Cats Are Grey to The Drowning Man are perfect. Faith is really good too. I really enjoy Faith, and I would even go as far as to say that the second side of the album is perfect. I think the first side is good as well. I think the weakest track on the album is Primary. Which is funny because that's the one that is like the single. Yeah, All Cats Are Great and Funeral Party, probably the best tracks on the album. Those two just work so well together. But all cats. Well, I don't know. I keep saying that. All Cats to Drowning Man is perfection. Absolute brilliance. Perfection. I truly hope that you guys enjoyed the album listen. The Buy Me a Coffee's there. Popping. If you want to sponsor a song request, Patreon, popping, for exclusive stuff, and popping, YouTube is here. Seriously though, I really thank you guys so much for watching the videos. I know that the album listens are longer videos, obviously, naturally. So I appreciate you all spending a little bit extra time here with me and listening to them. And I hope that they're enjoyable. I know when I did the poll a few months ago, that's, for the Long Song Saturdays, 50% of people said, yes, keep doing Long Song Saturdays and album listens. 50% said, I don't really care, do whatever. So I'm still trying to do Long Song Saturdays. They're not promised, but I'm trying my best to keep up on them as much as possible. So genuinely, thank you guys so much for the support. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, if you somehow got to this far, along with my plugs, if you want to help, just pressing that like button, sharing the video goes a long way. Signing up on Patreon for 1 month, $2 helps a lot. Any little thing you do is magic. I enjoyed your company. Hopefully you enjoyed mine. Please come on back by tomorrow, and hope that you enjoy the rest of your day.